there, everybody. I am doing this late night live stream. Number one, because I have insomnia, and I took a little nap today, or this evening, and ended up waking up at midnight 30. So I'm up, and I've got 19 more granny squares to make for my blanket, so I thought I would try to knock some of them out here on a live stream tonight. If you're in the chat, would you please just let me know if you can hear everything okay? Wait a minute, that's not what I wanted to do. Yes, it is. Three. If the music's too loud, just let me know, okay? Now, I learned the hard way after making 80 squares of this same design that I need to weave my ends in as I go. So that's what I'm going to be doing with this needle here. I've had to have my husband help me weave the ends in, and thankfully he was willing to do that for me. And now I only have a small stack left. I'll show you. I've only got this left to weave in, but hopefully by the end of the day I'll have this done. I don't know really how long it'll take to finish up these squares, but it doesn't really matter. I'm not on a timeline or anything to get it done. When I weave in my ends, I like to go in a bunch of different directions to make sure they stay secure. And now we're going to start round 2. Granny squares are some of the easiest things to make. I learned how to crochet when I was 8 years old. My granny would sit next to me on the sofa, or I would sit next to her while she was crocheting, and we would watch soap operas together. Can you believe I was watching that crud at 8 years old? But it was during the summertime, you know, when there was really nothing else to do early in the morning. There were no cartoon channels or anything like that. So after breakfast, we'd sit there until the friends came outside to play. So she taught me to crochet, and one of the very first things she taught me after I learned the basic stitches was to do a granny square. And I've been doing them ever since. Hey, Bone Tired, how are you doing? I do have them all mixed up, my dear. I, I don't know why. Just call it old lady condition, you know? Are you working tonight, Bone Tired? Hey, if you're still in the chat, would you please let me know if the music is too loud? Because I almost feel like I'm talking over it. But it's kind of far away from the phone, so, or my camera. I'm working at a stopping pot. Yes, menopause. That's the one. That's the one. I've been dealing with it now for probably about 10 years. And, well, 9. And the insomnia is the worst part of it. But I don't want to take, I don't want to take any medications because I still have the kids at home. And even though they're teenagers and pretty self-sufficient, I want to be able to respond if they need me. And I can't do that with the medications that they give me. So I figured if I'm going to be up this late anyway and crocheting, because that's what I do when I have this insomnia, I thought I would just do one of those vertical live streams and see how many people wanted to look at it. Okay, great. Thanks for letting me know that the music was okay. I was a little concerned about it. So how many stopping points do you get to in the night when you're working? I know it's probably real variable. Have you tried melatonin? Non-addictive, doesn't knock you out, no hangover. Yes, years ago I did. I haven't tried it recently. That might be worth looking into again. My son keeps trying to encourage me to, I don't even know how to say this without, he keeps trying to encourage me to do the same stuff the teenagers are doing. You know, gummies. And I told him I was not interested in doing all of that. Not that I haven't had my experiments in my youth, but I'm just too old for that nonsense, and I don't even like it. And of course, you know, you try the old standards like chamomile tea or chamomile, however you say it, and hot warm milk and a hot bath before bed and all of the things. But for some reason, menopause I think it just makes it more difficult for all of those things to work. Who knows? And, well, I'm going to be honest here, Bone Tired. This time of night, my house is peaceful. I don't have to tend to anybody. I don't have to respond to a bunch of questions or do somebody's dirty laundry. And I kind of enjoy my midnights to myself. It's kind of like my me time. And maybe that's one reason that I'm so adverse to trying to get my sleep schedule figured out. Adverse might not be the right word, but reluctant. There are several stopping points this weekend. I just got my second patient at 8 p.m. Oh, well, good. I'm glad to hear that. You nurses need a break every now and then. Long breaks. Considering everything, I'm sure it gets super chaotic sometimes. I'm thankful that there are people like you out there willing to do that job, because I could not. I just couldn't. I'm not cut out for being a caretaker like that. Shoot, I don't even like taking care of Poppy whenever he's had a surgery or, you know, down and out, whatever, pneumonia, the flu, whatever. I bring him food. I bring him medicine to get his fevers down or whatever. And I'll leave him in his room by himself. He can text me if he needs something. Kind of like a call button. I could watch you crochet all night. Very relaxing. I've tried it, but I'm so anxious. My hands go. Oh no. You know, my hands cramp too sometimes, but only after a very long time of sitting here and crocheting. It is a relaxing hobby, and I found out very young that it makes my brain be quiet. You know, mom of 7 kids, a little bit of ADHD, and my brain just never shuts up. And when I crochet, it it doesn't talk to me so much, you know. So this is more of a coping skill for me, I guess, than anything else. But you know, once you get your tension and your tension needs to be correct to keep your hands from cramping. And once you get comfortable with the stitches and comfortable in your ability, and that tightness goes away, you get a lot more relief from the cramped hands. So I would encourage you to maybe only crochet 15-20 minutes at a time if you're still interested in it. It is a productive coping skill. It really is. Oh my goodness, look what I did. See, I told myself that I was going to weave my ends as I go, but I'm so used to not doing that, I skipped a whole row of weaving the ends. It makes it so much easier when you do this weaving part as you go instead of saving it all till the end. Me and Poppy sat here for the past few days weaving the ends in 80 granny squares. And out of that 80, this is all we have left to do. I think, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We've got 12 more to do. I was going to do that tonight on the live stream, but I've got 19 more of these squares to make. So I decided that I'd just get them knocked out. Of course, it'll probably take me a day and a half to knock out 19 squares, but I thought I had enough squares with the 80. And then I started doing the math, and I laid them out on the bed, and I said, this isn't big enough. So I'm going to add one more row going across and one more row going down. And that'll be plenty big enough. I kind of want it big enough to cut. Ooh, I don't like the way that turned out. Let's see. I want it big enough to cover a full-size bed. You know, Bones Heart, I kind of like doing these midnight live streams. It is peaceful, not so much work. You don't have to turn on the big personality, just kind of chill. That's 2 and 2. So each one of these rows has 2 ends each to weave in. So, and I've got 6 rows, so that's 12 every single time I make a square. And this is the worst part of crocheting right here. You're looking at it. Thank you so much. I've got tons of different colors. I had this vision of making a blanket with nothing but variegated yarn, squares. And I made a few. I'll show you how it started off. It started off looking like this, and small squares like this. That's one. There's another. And here's another one. And I love variegated yarn. The more color, the better. But they started looking too bland for me. So then I decided to put the black in between and make the squares a little bigger. So it came out looking like this. I'll show you a few of them. There's another. There's another. And actually, see the difference? I mean, to me, it looks so much better with the black between the rows. This is a green one. This is a really pretty one. I like this. It has a lot of color in it. And then this one. I really like this. It has a lot of color too. So, but anyhow, I'm just going to sew them all together randomly and have a blanket. Hey, Camille, thanks for coming in. I do too. I enjoy. Black is really hard to use, you know. It's hard to see. It's that's the biggest problem is just seeing your stitches and that. But the finished product is always so beautiful. Excuse me. Camille, I'm weaving as I go. I learned the hard way, and I decided I'm not doing that to myself anymore. Thank you, Old Tired. I appreciate that. You know, I need to get one of those neck lights, but I didn't even think of this. I've got this light. You clip it on your shirt, and it turns on, and I really like this. Let me see if that'll work without messing up my camera lighting. Yeah, it's gonna mess it up. Oh well. My hair, I've had my hair down today while I was crocheting earlier, and my hair has shedded onto this mat, and I keep picking up little hairs out of the crochet. I can see them getting woven in very well. Now I know what they mean when they say every gift has a little piece of me in it. I understand. I'm telling you, I really believe weaving in is the worst part of crocheting. I truly believe that. I love doing the creative end of it and the work. I love doing the work. Just the process is wonderful to me. But that weaving ends, funny story, we've already weaved in 80 squares. Well, minus 12. 80 minus 12, whatever that is, 68. And my husband has done over 50% of the ends for me. So I'm lucky that I have myself a helper when it comes to that. Camille, what are you doing up so late? You're not in the States, are you? You're so addicted to crochet. Favorite hobby ever. Yep, it can become very addicting. I learned how to crochet when I was 8 years old, and I've been doing it over 50 years now. Now, not constantly. There were stretches where I never picked up a hook for a couple of years, but off and on throughout my life, I have crocheted quite a lot, quite a lot. Oh, you're always up late. You're in Texas. Okay, I'm sorry. I got confused. There's another Camille that I watch who's in the UK, and she's a crocheter as well. That's funny. This staying up late thing, I don't know if it's good for us or not, but it sure is peaceful. I'm just made this way. I stopped fighting it. I sleep. You know what, Camille? I've been doing the same thing for the past 3 years. Just sleep when I'm tired. I'm like you. I decided to just quit fighting. Well, and my children are older now. My last two kids still live at home, but one is almost 20 and the other one is in the 10th grade. And they're pretty self sufficient, so, they don't need me as much to do for them like when they were little. So, yeah, I don't feel so guilty when I sleep in before they get up to go to school and they get themselves up and get their own breakfast now. Shoot, I used to get up at 6:30 with them every morning and cook pancakes and bacon and, the things they loved. I miss those days a little bit, but only a little bit, trust me. Only a little bit. Oh, good. I'm almost done with this one. Well, looks like my needle has run off. No, it didn't. There it is. No more kids or out of the home job responsibilities, so just embrace it. I'm a night owl. Yep, yep. Well, mine started years and years ago when I worked as a operator at the telephone company. I used to work for Southern Bell. I was a directory assistance operator back when that was a thing. and I was on the night shift, and I worked 3 to 11 every night, and then of course you get home at 11, 12 o'clock at night, somewhere in there, and then you're wired and you can't go to sleep, and it just became such a habit for me. Well, then when I had kids, you're up and down all night long with them, and it just became a way of life that I never was able to reverse. Then I went to work in a nursing home on the midnight shift, like from 11 to 7. And I really enjoyed that shift. That was my jam. I always swore if I ever got another job, it would be the midnight shift like that. But I have no interest in getting another job. I'm going to make YouTube my job. Get that whole $12 a month and be happy with it. I took call in my 20s and 30s, so it's just always been like, yeah, I get that. But like I said, it's really peaceful at night when there's no kids up and there's no husband to take care of. And I was just telling Bone Tired that as much as I would love to get real sleep one day again, I enjoy this. I like having my nights to myself with no responsibility and no obligations except to anybody but me, you know? Call me selfish. Call me old and tired, for goodness sakes. Oh, no. Missed that stitch completely. Another piece of my hair. See, and I even have my hair in a ponytail right now to keep it from falling in my crochet. So I'm going around each square with a single crochet border, And what I intend to do to sew them together, I'm not going to sew them together. I'll be crocheting them together. I much prefer that method of crocheting or connecting squares because it's a lot more secure, I believe, than sewing. I've always done it that way. Not that that means it's right, it's just the way I like to do it. Yes, there's a small seam that goes between each square. There's a single crochet that goes. Now, I could slip stitch it together and not leave such an obvious seam, but I like the seam. I like the texture. So that's how I will be doing it. My hair is in all the projects too. That's how we leave pieces of ourself in our work, right, Camille? Camille, what kind of luck have you had blocking acrylic yarn? Just curious. I tend to have better luck when I'm blocking natural fabrics like, I don't know, cotton, wool, wool blends. Acrylic seems to have a mind of its own. And once I feel like once I get the blanket put together or the project put together, it kind of, the weight of it and the use of it works everything out and everything ends up just as square as it can be. Where's that other one? There he is. Well, one down and 18 to go. Put these over here where they belong. Seems to hold its shape enough. So, job's a good one, right? Yes. Oh, you wet block them? I don't block or anything. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I don't do it either. I think it holds just fine. It makes a great square. With acrylic yarn, that is. I have found that some of my cotton projects look neater when they're blocked. At least if I'm giving it as a gift. It's nice to fold and put in the box, and when the people open it up, it looks like a maybe a more professional job. But yeah, I agree with you. I love these little scissors. They are so stinking sharp. I have this pair and a black pair, and I got them, I think, from Hobby Lobby or Walmart, one of those places. But these things are super sharp, and they go through this yarn like butter. And they weren't that expensive. I mean, I'm talking maybe $5 a piece, 3 to 5, something like that. I've yet to do any more than that. I'm gonna be doing some cotton bamboo clothing soon. So maybe I'll put more effort into. Yeah, I get that. I get that. Well, I think it all will just depend on how it looks and feels, when you're finished with it. I blocked the recent baby blanket that I made just because it was 100% cotton. But, and I was given it as a gift, and I wanted it to look nice in the box. Yeah, I got you. I got you. Hey, I'm really fluent in typographicals now, in typos. YouTube's taught me how to do that. And I'll tell you another thing I love. I have always, 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 from the beginning of time, been a Susan Bates hook user. I love them. I'm comfortable with them, and I don't intend to change. Now, I have other hooks that I kind of collect them because they're pretty, but I don't use them. I just bought these. It's probably been about 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago. For some reason, I just picked them up and I thought, well, that's a new twist on the Susan Bates, right? But I got it home and realized it's about maybe half to 3/4 inch longer than the regular Susan Bates hooks. And that makes it so much easier to crochet with. And I just love them. So this past weekend, I ordered myself another set of them. Because you got to have duplicates of every single size that you use. My most common sizes that I use are I's, J's, and believe it or not, F. I use F hook a lot. Now, when I'm working with 2/8, I like to use a F or a G, but those are my favorites. So I need to buy lots and lots of them, and thankfully, every one of those sizes comes in the packet. It starts G, H, I, J, K. Yeah, those 5 come in the packet. So I think I'm just going to order a couple of them, a couple more, so that way I'll have enough to do as many projects at the same time as I want. Oh, okay. Well, I'll tell you. This one is 5.5 millimeter. That they call that an I. The 5 millimeter is the H. So a 6 millimeter would be a J. Maybe a K. Oh, heck, I don't know. I get them all confused. Let's see. I don't know if they're in here. I think they are. Okay. The K is 6.5. And the J is, nope, that's not a J. I'm having a really hard time seeing that one. That's an H, it's a 5 millimeter. This is the J, and it is a 6 millimeter. This little bitty one is the F. No, it's a G. F, G, H, I, J. Okay, that's a G, and it's 4 millimeter. And then, of course, the one I'm using is 5.5. And it is an I. I don't know why I always go by the letter. I think they should take the letters off and just go straight with millimeters for everybody, because having all the different designations for these things is kind of ridiculous. If I'd have learned millimeters from the get-go, it wouldn't be ridiculous. Actually, not only is this an I, it's an I9, 5.5 millimeter. Crazy, isn't it? Okay, 1, 2, 3. I hope I'm not getting off track here. I'm not. Great. Oh, thank you. No, I love seeing people's hooks. And those furls hooks, you're not going to believe this. You know, those are pretty expensive hooks. And, hang on, let me show you. Oh, fiddlesticks. What fell out? I don't know what fell out, but it wasn't the furls hooks. These two right here, my daughter bought me for my birthday, probably 8, 9 years ago, when I first learned about furls hooks. And they're the Odyssey hooks, and I don't think they make them anymore. And one of the crocheters that comes online in the live streams with us sometimes told me that he saw one hook on eBay for $200. And I'm like, are you kidding me? That's insane. Because honestly, I can't crochet with these. Number one, they're very heavy. Number two, they're too bulky for I have very small hands. I'm only 5 feet tall. I'm a small woman. And that's too big for my hand. However, it was pretty back when I bought it. Well, these three, I just got these this past year. And Furls was having a mystery hook sale or some kind of hook sale. So I ordered 3 in these sizes. I've got 6 millimeter, 8 millimeter, and a 10 millimeter. And this is what they sent me. Now, this one here is kind of a, honestly, I don't know what color it is. Sometimes it looks purple, sometimes it looks navy blue, but most of the time it looks black with a little bit of white, in it. They were like misfits, ones that didn't come out exactly like they wanted. And that's why I got them for 10 bucks a piece. And I thought, you know what? That might be an investment. But this one's kind of an aquamarine color and a very pretty coral orange color. And then this one's beautiful. It's this marine blue, and the marbling is kind of a pale teal and lavender. And I just think it's so, so, so stinking beautiful. So I'm just going to hang on to them. One of these days, maybe I'll get myself a little display and put the pretty hooks up. But these here are my functional from here over. And if you'll notice, I've got them from smallest to largest over here. And these slots are missing because they're all in projects. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, now back to this weaving these ends in. You're still here. Everybody here is chatty tonight. We're delirious after 36 hours in 3 days. Oh my goodness, bone tired. I bet you are delirious. Everybody gets their second wind sometimes, don't they? And then it kind of gets crazy and silly. You know, when I worked in the nursing home, my first husband, I was married to him, and I would come home and sleep, and then he would go to work. So the only time we really had to spend together was right at dinner time. I would always make sure I made dinner for him before I left, and we'd sit down and have dinner together. And then, of course, he'd watch some football or whatever, and I'd go do my thing, and he would fall asleep in the recliner, and I'd leave home to go to work. So, but while we were eating dinner, I would tell him what happened at my job that day. And he would always tell me, hey, I'm trying to eat. Why are you telling me all this gross stuff while I'm trying to eat? Are you trying to make me sick? He had such a weak stomach that he couldn't listen to my day at work. So I would have to go to work and talk about my day at work. I thought it was so funny, though, that he was so squeamish that he couldn't listen to any of the things we had to do on the job. Have to be careful who I talk word to. Yeah. And now my other daughter, my middle daughter, she's a licensed clinical social worker. And of course, there's certain things you can't say when you're talking about work in that environment. So she'll call me and discuss things with me. And I'll be asking all kinds of details. Well, Mom, I can't tell you that because you might know this person. We live in a very small town, so it's quite possible that I know them usually. Well, she does mostly kids, so it's quite possible that I know the kids because of my kids who go to school. And she'll say, Mom, I can't tell you who it is. I can't tell you this detail because you'll know who I'm talking about, blah, blah, blah. But boy, I'm telling you, after listening to a lot of her stories about the kids that she treats and, talks to and tries to help, I really, really did not realize how many children in the world have totally messed up parents and totally messed up lives. Traumas like you would not believe. And they go to school every day and they put on their happy faces and they get through it somehow. And it's really remarkable to me. And a lot of people say, well, this generation, blah, blah, blah. And they've said it about every generation from the beginning of time, but this generation in particular, this the young ones coming up now. They've got it harder than I did. I know that. I think they had it harder than my generation and the one before. Especially after listening to the stories. I mean, it's bad enough that the economy sucks right now and that things are so expensive and jobs still don't want to pay enough and college costs are out the wazoo, so that's a hard option as well. But to have the kinds of family lives that these kids have in addition to that, I don't know. I don't know how they're going to make it. I know they will. I know they will. It was a book written, and there's a quote from that book talking about how um, something about soft men creating hard times and hard times creating strong men. And that doesn't just go for the gender men. It just, men is humanity. And I really like that quote because I think it's so true. And I've seen that particular quote in action. The greatest generation created wealth and came home from war and did well, were able to survive. And then, in the 70s, it was all about peace and love, and things went to hell. And then the 80s, we made a comeback. Now in the 90s, it was great. The economy was great. And then the crash, and now this new century has been fraught with a lot of hardship. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm delirious too, dear. I know what I need. I need some of this emotional support sweet tea. Poppy bought my new tea tumbler for me today. And I like it. It's nice and big. I always take my tea everywhere with me, even in the car, doesn't matter where I go. I take it with me. Wait a minute. What have I done here? Nothing. And that's the perfect size for a long trip. Or a short one. Camille says, I'm a trauma survivor. What I've come to realize that most of us, yes, you are right, Camille. You're very right. I've had some traumas in my life as well, and it's amazing how resilient people can be. Nowadays, I think kids are luckier in that. Back when I was a kid, you didn't take your kids to grief counseling or trauma therapy or anything like that. They didn't have that kind of stuff. Maybe they did, but our parents, our generation's parents, we handled our own business. Everybody kept to them, kept their family secrets, and you just survived. And now young people are luckier if they do get help, that they are able to access the help. I think if you haven't, you're lucky. Right, right, right. Your hubby was lucky, for example. Yeah, God bless it. I don't think so many people get that lucky, right? And maybe that's why I have the opinion I do about these children and their families, because 20, 30, well, let's go back to 40 years ago, my daughter wouldn't have her job. It wouldn't exist. She's a licensed clinical social worker, so maybe they did have that title back then, but I don't think they did therapy, not near as often as they do now. Shoot, I think every kid in that high school's in some kind of therapy. Your husband can't conceive of the, yeah, yeah. Thankfully, my husband and I have somewhat similar backgrounds. He's had some trauma in his life, and even though our traumas were different, we can kind of relate to each other in that respect, just because we both are survivors. But it would have been nice years ago to have had someone to walk us through coping coping tools and giving us skills to not bring those bad coping skills into our adult life. He raised his two daughters on his own. His ex-wife is an alcoholic. Oh dear. Mm-mm-mm. I thought everyone went through what I did till I got into college. Then it was like, oh my life. Oh my. Family life wasn't normal. Oops. I mostly healed though, and most of it came with that's with your husband's help. Isn't that something? Um, I think, see, my mother she was murdered when I was 8. And I think that my father and my stepmother really did do the best they could under the circumstances to try to make our family as normal as possible, even though it wasn't. But they really didn't know what to do with us, me and my brother. Um, they just didn't know how to help us cope. And that's not their fault. Thank you. Thank you, Bone Tired. Um, it took probably nine years of therapy for me to finally put my life together. I was extremely stunted as a young adult because of the crazy life I went through, the traumas. My stepmother was not a helpful lady. She was she would have been happier if I was not there. But I was not an easy child either. And under the circumstances, I don't think any kid would have been easy to deal with. But in the end, it all worked out. Yeah, last November would have been 50 years ago that she passed. That's crazy. 50 years. You know what's crazy is I'm kind of mad about being able to say 50 years ago. Because I don't feel that old in my head, do y'all? You know, I would really like to thank you ladies for just being here and chatting with me while I'm doing this. Forever 29 here. I think if I had to pick an age to be forever, it would be somewhere between 35 and 40. Because those were my favorite. I loved being 35 to 40. I mean, life is good now. It's great. But, you know, starting to deal with the old age issues and the aches and the pains and the arthritis, excuse me, and the having to pee all the time and all the doctor visits. You got to get this checked and you got to get that checked. And it's like, oh, good Lord, just let me die in peace. Yes, the energy. Oh, gosh. I want my 29-year-old eyes back. Old age or aging has really destroyed my eyes. I've got bags underneath them that are a genetic thing, like folded bags underneath my eyes. That my eyelids are falling down onto my eyelashes. And if money were not an issue, the only plastic surgery I think I would ever consider is getting my eyes fixed. And maybe finding my waist again. I lost my waist after my son Murphy was born. That's been 16 years ago. I was 43. So, but I had my waist up until then. So it was nice to have it for as long as I did. Now I have what I fondly refer to as menopause gut. Yeah, what's that? I know, bone tired. It disappeared. And you know, I see senior ladies out there rocking all those young people clothes and they look beautiful and fit, and I'm thinking, how much did they pay for all that beautiful and fit? Are they taking Ozempic? What the heck are they doing? But then again, I will admit a lot of it just comes down to good genetics. I'm getting that dang floppiness under. Oh gosh, me too, Camille. Under the chin that I used to wonder why my grandmas looked like that. I hear you. I'm right there with you. I tell people all the time. I'll point to my chin and my little turkey neck, and I'll say, "See that right there? That used to be my face. My face is sliding right off onto my neck." But I still have a nice behind. I can still rock a pair of jeans. I'm on Monjuro, lost 23 pounds. And you have the waddle too. Congratulations. I'm so happy for you, Bone Tired. Does that Monjuro, does it have a lot of side effects or have you noticed any? I don't really think I want to go on it, but just in case. Isn't that another semaglutide type medication? 20. And another question, how long did it take for the Manjaro to help you lose all of that 23 pounds? Because I would love to lose 23 pounds. In fact, that's all I really need to lose is about 23 pounds. Yeah. Wow, that one went faster than I thought it would. One more row and that'll be done. Okay, GLP-1. Okay, okay. I'm having a lot of belching. If I, oh, I see. Well, shoot. I have a lot of that anyway. It's probably my gallbladder. I took, it took months, but I have binge eating. Okay. And we changed my ADHD med to Vyvanse. Okay. Oh, yeah, Vyvanse. Look, I had my son on Vyvanse for, I want to say 3 months, and he lost so much weight they took him off of it. Well, that and it never, you know, we just had him back to the doctor last week, and I told the doctor, I said, look, all of this ADHD medicine we've been trying on him, none of it is really helping him to the degree that I think it should. He's been on Vyvanse, he's been on Focalin, he's been on Adderall. Now we've got him on Strattera because he finally put his foot down and said, I don't want any more of those stimulants. I don't like the way they make me feel. So we're trying that. But he sees a psychiatric nurse for his ADHD medicine and his insomnia medication because he also has insomnia. So giving him stimulants all day long probably doesn't help him resolve the insomnia problem. Speaking of insomnia, he just got up and went to the bathroom. So we've decided that he also sees a neurologist for his migraines. So we've decided that when he goes back to see the neurologist, we are going to ask the neurologist to do a sleep study and find out exactly how severe this insomnia or sleep disorder that he has might be and get that tended to, because honestly, my thought is this. He's been trying ADHD meds for the past 3 years. None of them have helped him as much as they need to. So what if it's not ADHD? What if it's a sleep disorder preventing him from getting enough sleep every day that is causing him to have the symptoms that he has? Same for your son with the Vyvanse. Yeah. But I tell you what, Vyvanse is no joke. I always thought maybe I would want to take some ADHD medicine, but I've always been so terrified of it because I have a fairly, well, my resting heart rate usually runs about 105. It's too fast, and that's why I take medication to slow it down. And I'm so afraid that if I ever took an ADD medicine, my heart would just explode. It'd start beating so fast it would just explode. So I never tried it. But it might help. Who knows? Helps my other son a lot. But I keep thinking we need to get this boy that still lives here, we need to get him squared away because, he's going to be an adult soon and he's going to have to get up and go to work every day or go to college every day, and both, actually. And right now, I don't think that he's going to be super successful at trying to do all of that at one time. not without some supports in place. He doesn't take meds anymore. He's 22. Doesn't want them. He's on anti-anxiety, and I really think that was more... You know, Camille, that's a very interesting thought. I always thought that my ADHD symptoms were more anxiety driven than an actual executive functioning problem. Because, you know, with my history, I was a shoo-in for an anxiety disorder. Okay, fine, I'll go. Yes, I'll do it. I'll do it, because if I don't weave these ends in, I'm going to be so angry with myself, y'all. I'm going to take a little bitty intermission and run to the ladies' room, put on a little bit of music, and I'll be right back. Okie doke. I am back already. I'm about to say goodbye to these ends. What happened? He does have ADHD, however, it seems more manageable with the... Yeah, that makes sense too. Oh, my kitty's trying to go get in my yarn. Don't you do it, young lady. Don't you do it. Oh, you can't have that. She's trying to eat washi tape, y'all. This is one of the most playful kitties. But she's probably trying to tell me it's time to eat. She's going to have to wait a little while. Okay, I don't like that song. That's annoying. Okay. There. That was annoying me to death. I don't like that constant ticking sound that that music was making. Okay. Skip. Oh, I can't wait to see it finished too, Camille. Thank you. Thank you. Look, it was just an idea I had to make a bunch of granny squares with variegated yarn. And I'm sure I'm not the only person in the world that's ever tried this, but I picked some colors that I really liked and went for it. And this is how it's turning out so far. I'll be, I should be starting to put it together sometime around midweek, maybe even earlier than that, depending on how motivated I get to start, crocheting it together. It's like I only have, well, I've made two so far. I only have 17 more to make. And then I have to weave in the ends on 12. And then I'll be ready to put them together. Let's see, where's another pretty color? Let's see about this one. It might get too much gray in it. I don't know, let's see. Pull out some of that gray. Thank you. My daughter, my middle daughter, the one that's the social worker, she threatened me a while back. I call it a threat. She was kidding me. She said, if you die and not make me a blanket, I will never forgive you. If you die and I don't have a blanket. I said, all right, fine. So I made her a blanket. It's a 8-point star, and I made it from Ferris wheel yarn in the color Violet Fields. Really pretty yarn. And I really like the way that that yarn worked up. I was a little skeptical at first, but it washes so beautifully. You can dry it in the dryer, and she really loves it. Well, a couple weeks after I gave it to her, we were talking, and she says, well, now I've decided that I need a collection of those blankets. So when I started making this, I have a blanket in mind that I want to make for her. And she does want a granny square type of blanket in that, quote, collection, unquote. But she saw me making this one, and I sent her some pictures of the squares, and she has claimed it as her own, but I'm going to have to tell her, no, ma'am, I will make you another one just like it if you would like, but you can't have this one. I'm making this one for myself. And other than a cardigan that I just recently made for myself, I don't normally make things for me. I'm just not in the habit of making things for me. And I figure, well, I have this skill, and everybody else seems to like what I give to them. Why don't I give something to myself? Well, this blanket here's a gift to myself. Go away, kitty kitty. You walked right across my camera, didn't you? Shame on you. Come on, get down. No, ma'am. Don't you do it. Psst, psst, psst. Get. All right. That's what I thought. Sometimes I have to use the squirt bottle to keep the kitty cats off my table. And it is not time for them to be hungry yet. They still have another hour to go. Well, looks like the East Coast should be waking up pretty soon. Getting ready to go to work. Something is in this piece of yarn. Feels almost like glue. I don't know how that would get in there. You know what? I don't need that sticky thing in my blanket. Just cut it out of there and start over. Thanks for still being here, Bone Tired. I'm just trying to work. I like this music. Looking at patterns for paper flowers that you can make with your Cricut. Now that is something I do not know how to use as a Cricut, but I bet you that's going to be beautiful. Because flowers, I mean, you can't go wrong with flowers, right? In fact, I think on not this Monday night or tonight, but on my next Monday night crochet video that I do at like 9 o'clock, I'm going to try crocheting either a rose or an iris or maybe even a zinnia. I've been looking at patterns this week to see which kind of flower I want to try to crochet. And there's also a potted plant that I'd like to crochet. Sounds crazy, doesn't it? They've even got monstera leaves that you can crochet. The big monstera plant, Swiss cheese plant. I just need a little heartleaf philodendron to hang in the car. Now tomorrow night, or what I keep saying tomorrow, it's tonight. On that live stream, I'm going to be crocheting crock covers for your Crocs. And you sew them around the top toe part And I thought that would be kind of fun because I have an old pair of Crocs that are not very pretty, but they're still functional. So I thought if I crocheted something to cover up the ugly, I could still get some use out of them. Leave it to me to milk the use out of everything. One, two, okay. Good morning to everybody who's coming in. Just sitting here making some granny squares early in the morning. Enjoying some peace and solitude. There's number 3 for the evening. And I'm going to call that perfect timing because Poppy is going to have to get up and go to work early tonight, or today. And it is almost 4:30 a.m. Central Time, and that is when he's supposed to get up. So I'm going to end this live stream. I want to thank everybody who joined me tonight. I will be back probably on Tuesday late at night doing another stream and vertical stream, and then tomorrow night on my Gulf Coast Granny channel I will be doing a live stream at 9 o'clock. I'm going to be making a cover for my Crocs, so if you want to join me, I'll be live at 9 o'clock. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful day. Take care. Oh gosh, I forgot how to end it, y'all.